Well, Danny, great news for you, I'm sure, but also for Gloucester. What made the final decision so easy? How did you come to this decision?
I guess it's just been in talks, before I came here, and it was something that was always on my mind. And there came a point where early in the season, it was the first time in sort of 9 years I started to miss being in London and miss home, as it were. But the club, my teammates, the fans, everyone involved with the club has made it such a homely experience, and excuse the pun, but I mean, they've made it such a great experience for me being at Gloucester that you end up not missing home as much, and I think that was a deciding factor, especially when I look at what we're trying to create as a team. So that was probably the biggest factor for me.
How pleased are you then to have it signed on the dotted line? You're here for another 3 years.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Last year I waited until end of May before I signed a contract somewhere. So it's just nice to be able to know, the next 3 years of my career, I can settle down, get the best next 3 years out of me, and then I can move on to the next part of my life. But for this next 3 years, it's exciting to see how far this club can go. And we've had a great start so far, and we're finishing the season well. So it's just nice to be able to actually settle for the first time in a while.
Now, the Cherry and Whites, we look around a place like this, a lot of tradition, a lot of history. What is it to you that's been special about being part of this club?
What's special about it is I think I bought into the message early on that Johan had delivered. That was when I first met him back in May, of how he really wants to play to inspire this whole city, and I think it's just remarkable what he's done in terms of how he sort of helps the boys educate or helps them grow as men off the field. I think that's such an important factor. The conversations he has to the groups, and how he takes such a keen interest in the development of us as men, and you've not really seen that through many coaches in my time in rugby. He obviously cares massively about what we do on the field, and it's important, but just growing that aspect of it means that you're going to get better rugby players anyway. It was, for example, we played Leicester at home, and before the game he got 2 fans in, a grandson and a granddad. The grandson was 30, the granddad was obviously a little bit older, and he asked them why do they come to watch Gloucester, and to hear them speak about why they bring each other, why the grandson has been coming and now he's taking the granddad, and for the years before, why did the granddad bring the grandson, to see what it means to this group of fans, these people. It was amazing to listen to before a game, and I think we all got inspired from it, and it's those type of things that have really got me to buy into this club.
You mentioned that game against Leicester. There have been some big matches in the last year or so. Any sort of standout moments, big moments that you've enjoyed, things that you look back on?
For me, it was always very enjoyable going away to Wasps in the 5th game of the season. We got a very convincing win that day, and that was obviously, it was just nice to be able to sort of sign off that chapter, which was brilliant. But yeah, I think the key is to see how everyone's buying into it. It's such a selfless team. There's no egos within it. Everyone's literally committing to the cause, whatever their role is, whatever their job is. It's got an unbelievable group of players, from talent to different personalities, from people all over the globe. We've got people like Fraser Balmain, who's one of the heartbeats of the club. He's extremely funny and he's very sarcastic in the way he is, and but he adds so much to the squad, and we've got a lot of a South African contingent who bring a different culture to it, and I love all of that side of it, and buying into it. And yeah, I think just seeing everyone grow as we are, I think it's going to be special over these next couple of weeks.
I think rugby fans, particularly in England, have seen you grow up over the last few years at different clubs and followed your fortunes as much off the pitch, I suppose, at times as they have on the pitch. When all the chatter around where you're going to be, where you're going to be signing, what are you up to, how do you remain focused on the job in hand? How do you concentrate on the rugby and make sure that you're doing that and ignore all the other chatter?
Yeah, well, I guess from a young age, there's always been some sort of chatter around me, whether it be me making a mistake or you know, things that be happening off the field, and my focus has always been like, how do I perform under pressure? And my pressure might be what I put on myself to perform, might be trying to get into an England team, it might be whatever it might be in terms of the external pressure. And I just think I've really tried to stay as resilient and persevere as much as I can throughout the time. And you know, I really put everything into it. Like I watch so much rugby to help analyse teams, to make sure we are at the best of our ability every weekend. And I think if I put so much effort into that, then match day is also a very enjoyable place. You know, lots of work I've done with Steve Black through visualisation throughout the week. It almost feels like I've already played the game. There's loads of things that I've done that I've worked on to make sure, with all this chatter, with all these contracts or whatever it might be, is to make sure that, you know, I turn up and do the job.
And what you've talked about, the squad that you play amongst there is obviously a great spirit within that group. How have you enjoyed just getting to know these guys and playing with them?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. You know, obviously my first couple of weeks here, you know, things went a bit AWOL when we was in Jersey, and it was a difficult time. And to see how everyone like rallied round, to see how much like the boys in a short space of time like truly cared, and they were like, you know, shocked with everything that was going on, and how the coaches and the management and all of that. And I think it just shows that, you know, mistakes can happen. It's how do we grow? How do we keep learning from them? And to see everyone sort of like rally around in such a difficult situation for me, you know, I always knew in the back of my mind that was great. I want to stay. So it was just getting everything signed, sealed, and delivered over these last couple of weeks. And
there must be great spirit within the squad at the moment as well. You know, the club are doing well, sitting up near the top of the Premiership. Just is there a sense, you know, it's a cliche, a buzz around the club, but just amongst the players themselves, a sense that there's something really special happening here? Yeah, I think there is something special happening in terms of the culture, the way we're growing this team. Johan's obviously at the forefront of that. Obviously the results have been brilliant recently, and we're in a strong position now, but we don't take anything for granted. We know that this year the Premiership is, you know, from top to bottom, it's very tight. There's only like 5, 6, 7 points in it. So we know that as well as we're doing, we also need to stay on our mettle, make sure we're performing every single week. And the messages that the coach has been given every single week in terms of we are trying to improve, we're trying to get better, that's a huge focus, a huge shift, rather than just parking a game and go into a next. If we're all individually trying to improve, get better, then everything's going to grow and improve. So I think as much as there is a buzz, we know where we're at, and we know what we need to try and achieve over these next couple of weeks to put ourselves in good stead. Now this is kind of twofold question, because obviously you came here with Wasps, with other teams, to play at Kingsholm, and now you're wearing the cherry and white. What was it like to come here as an opposing player, and what's it like to run out here now and be part of the Gloucester team? Yeah, as an opposing player, it was interesting. You know, you'd hear the odd fan shouting out things from the stands, and you know, that you might hear the odd song or whatever it might be. And I guess, you know, at the time I probably got a little bit more stick, but I probably knew that's because they loved me, really. So I felt like I had to come and play here at some point, just to be on the other end of it. But you know, to have them behind us now, to hear them in full voice as it's been like all season, it's been amazing. Like to hear the way that the crowd lifts when Ollie Thorley gets the ball, or you know, you see Franco Mostart, Ed Slater hit a big clean out or a big tackle. You hear the crowd when you're on the field, like you hear what they do and how they lift up the boys. And I think it's just such a great part, and that's what makes this club so special. Like, you know, everyone, you know, we're all from like, you know, pretty, you know, humble backgrounds, and we're out here just trying to do the best we can, and the crowd just buys into all of it. So I love that. What about life in the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire? You fitted in all right? You enjoy it here? Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time up here. And what's great is, you know, a lot of boys aren't really from Gloucester, so we end up spending a lot of time together because, you know, we are each other's friends and family as well, and that's also part of the message that Johan's trying to deliver. But yeah, I really love the area. You know, it's not too far from London when I need to nip back, and I think it's been very welcoming, and there's some great, you know, places to go around here, so I'm very much enjoying it. Beautiful part of the world. As I said, I feel as though, you know, you've grown up with us. We know an awful lot about Danny Cipriani. Tell us something that maybe we don't know about Danny Cipriani. I think it's, you know, everyone knows as much as, you know, the media delivers, or whatever the character is they're trying to portray.
So for me, it's just trying to stick to what I do in terms of my day-to-day, trying to improve my game on, off the field, whatever it might be. And when I do finish, one of the biggest things that I want people to say is like, he helped me become a better player, or he inspired me to be a better player, or, I played better with Danny, or whatever it was, because, if you can have that effect on people around you, then for me, that's me doing the best job that I can, especially in the position I play at fly half. But yeah, I guess, what's something that people don't know, I'm a student of the game, and I just try and focus as much as I can on preparing every week to make sure we deliver it at weekends.
Who inspires you then? Obviously this wonderful mantra of Johann's, inspire people around you, inspire the city. You talk about trying to inspire others around you as well. Who inspires you?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate in my life, as everyone will be if you look into it, to come across people that inspire me, from, my mum's work ethic, her resilience, is extraordinary. From Sean Edwards when I was young, in terms of, he was the first people to tell me, Danny, be a student of the game, like, make sure you're doing your homework, looking at games, seeing where you can learn, and like that stuck with me for like the best part of a decade. Steve Black, my mentor, what a great man he is, like the feels he can give to you after having a conversation with you. And it just proves more and more that sport is about the top 2 inches, about, mentality in terms of what you do. Everyone's big, fast, strong and quick, but like you say, those things that happen off the field, things that are going on, it's about your resilience. It's how you turn up and do the job on a Saturday. And, I like to think I do that to the best of my ability.
Obviously, this is your club commitment. I'm sure you've got one eye still on international honours. I know you're in dialogue with England as well. Do you think that if Gloucester can have a good presence in the Premiership, if you can continue to keep delivering in performances, that might happen for you?
Yeah, there's always the hope in that things will come of it, but to be truly present and to be delivering your best is for me to make sure Gloucester are doing their best. And I wouldn't be doing the club a service by focusing too much on the exterior, because that will either come or it won't. So all I can do is force the hand in the best way I can in terms of my performance, how I drive the team, how I can lead them in the best way, my work on, off the ball, and how you perform every game. Like you're on show, but for me it is, can we get the win? Can we get the result? Is it about me looking good or the team looking good? If we keep winning, it's about the team. That's always been my focus, and that's something that I've really worked on for the last 7 years since I come back from Australia. So I think it's something that really inspires me, is to see when the team does well, because it's never really about one person.
And I think the one thing we've always liked to follow is what Danny did next. So now we know you're here and you've signed for 3 years. What message would you send out to the Kingsholm faithful, to the Gloucester fans who will be delighted to hear your news?
To the Gloucester faithful, I just think to just keep turning up in the way they're doing, and hopefully we can keep giving them reasons why to keep turning up, and get behind the boys. When, like I said, when Ollie does catch the ball, does his thing down the wing, like, let's hear you, like, let's really get behind this group of guys, because we're a very tight-knit group, and we've got a big task at hand. Something that this club hasn't had for a couple of years, and we've got some big games. We're playing Bath in a couple of weeks. It's a local derby. Let's make sure it's a hostile place for them when they come down. Every time the opposition does. I know they already do that and work on it, but like, let's make this our fortress and keep building it, because over these next couple of years, like, let's make Kingsholm an impossible place to come and play. And they're already doing that, but don't underestimate the role they have in it. And just thank you for being so accepting and kind when I do run out and I'm out there, even though early in the season it was a bit more difficult.